Vlog. So much for me being able to pre-record this. It ended up being a little different, but I have a new phone, so I decided to still do the cell phone video instead of my normal camera because I wanted to test out to see how this camera might turn out a bit better. Also, I'm filming it earlier, so it's probably part of the reason, at least, why I don't look at it. It's not as dark down where I'm at as normal. Anyway, so our discussion this week is about like the neutral zone and everything, and I think Niall and Luke kind of touch upon it, and I think part of a lot of what it is tied to is we use our opinions so much to identify ourselves now lately that it's hard to not have like conversations where you have to choose a side or it's really extreme opinions or something or not. And I like that Luke was talking about how, you know, people have opinions for different reasons, but we don't really necessarily talk about it. Like, two people could have the same opinion, but they both have it for different reasons, so there's different reasoning behind their opinion for it. And it kind of just makes me think of how, kind of going to a thing that I was talking about with media, how when we look at that, it seems like there are two polar opposites. You can only have one of two opinions. But when you look at the reality of it, at least within the US, you know, there's the extreme left and there's the extreme right. But each of those, the extreme left only makes up like 5% of the population. The extreme right makes up only 5% of the population. And everyone else tends to fall in the middle somewhere. Not necessarily being extreme right, but maybe they're right, or maybe they're left, or maybe they're just somewhere in the middle. A lot more of the population actually falls somewhere in the middle than in necessarily of one polarizing opinion, particularly as I'm talking about extreme left and extreme right, which is politics. But as far, I mean, like in the media, we only see a lot of views portrayed as either, you know, being, it's the liberal media's agenda, or it's the conservative media's agenda, basically being Fox versus most everyone else. Is the way they kind of try to pit it, is that like Fox is the only one that's really super conservative, even though that's not necessarily true. But yeah, so I think that's definitely a thing, and I think it does definitely happen, but I feel like when it comes down to groups, you can have conversations where, you know, you can have one opinion or the other, and especially like about books, you will get people who have one opinion or another, and people will like it or dislike something for the same thing, and, you know, there are people who will absolutely defend why they love a book or absolutely why they hate it and why you should too, but I think it is really odd that it's become a thing where it's less, we are our personalities through our opinions, unless our opinions are formed through our personalities or something like that. I don't know. It maybe is an interesting question to see which one plays off more. Is our personality impacting our opinions, or our opinions impacting our personality because of the way we view them, which might lead to, like, you know, the conversation about, you know, why you could, though it's not really smart in any situation to really generalize about like groups of people from certain websites having certain opinions and being of a certain mindset. But that's just a different thing. And I think that's about all I can coherently get through at this point, because I've had a lot of like 12-hour work days, which are intriguing, though at least I don't have any injuries like Niall. I've avoided those for a couple of years now. But hopefully now Niall's better and feeling okay. So I'm gonna end my rambling here. But yeah, I think we actually can have a neutral zone. I think we actually approach a neutral zone a lot more often than we think we do. And I think it tends to try to be brought up within like family and within friend groups, because of the whole idea that, you know, people talk about, things you never talk about with anyone you like, politics, religion, and taxes or something like that, I think. Or it might just be politics and religion, but you never bring those up with people because it can get so polarizing and you don't want to hate someone that you actually get along with really well. But at the same time, like, do you still want to have that conversation? Because if you actually strongly dislike people who have a different opinion of you, do you still want to be their friend if that's their opinion, but you like everything else about them? But that's probably a different conversation for another time. So until next week, Vlogalog. See ya.